Can you see my pretty face?
Oh, I can see your beard, and that's what's important.
That is what's important.
So, Stupid J here,
Mike.
Stupid Game Reviews.
Big Mike.
And
right now we're reviewing Darksiders 2.
Alright.
A game that I have just nothing but love for.
So I'm gonna start.
I have a little one thing bad.
We'll get there.
Other than that.
Oh, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
First and foremost, Joe Madeira. I don't know how to say his name. I've been a fan of his. I'm a comic book geek, always have been. Always loved his art. When he did the first Darksiders, that was my favorite thing. All of his character designs and his artwork. And in 2, holy shit. Just the character design. Everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Just, when you go to the different regions and you just... There's no character that's boring. Everyone's... Their outfits and the hair and the weapons, like everything is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And it's all because of Joe, and his artwork is awesome, his imagination is awesome, and you know, in visual games, I don't know if that's his thing. I don't know if that's his.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I know he's one of the head honchos. I don't know if he's CEO or whatever, but you know, you could tell he puts a lot of love into these Darksider games. That's easily my favorite part about this game. And the music does stand out once in a while. Not always. But like the whole introduction period is like one of the most epic beginnings to a video game. When you're going up the elevators and it's like... It's like holy tits!
Right.
And it's really epic and awesome. And really... And you know, that really stood out to me right in the beginning. And the other thing I like is... as a fantasy game, it's not all... dark dungeons. There is, but I mean it's not exclusive to that. There's a lot of like the one planet is all lush and green, and you're outside and you're helping out a rock monster guy, and there's a lot, so there's a lot of nice variation, and the controls are better in this one compared to the first one. I really hated the controls in the camera in the first game. I really fucking hated them. And in 2, they're an improvement. I don't think they're spot on yet, but I think they're better. I had issues with both.
I have never met anyone who plays as many games as you do that has problems with controls.
That's probably why, because I play so many games.
And also, you love Gears of War, which I think has the worst controls.
And I totally said on the review that the game has terrible controls.
I don't think you've ever liked controls in a game. So, I don't know. So don't listen to him when it comes to controls.
But, and I think they stepped up their game when it came to the RPG elements. It's not very RPG-like.
No.
But the leveling up system, being able to equip different boots and armor and weapons and selling them, which is a lot nicer than I don't know, it gives you more to it.
Yeah.
That you don't necessarily need, but it's nice. It's nice to have, and I enjoy it. It was a little, it's a lot. It's a big menu, and it's really involved, and it took me a little bit of time to get through it, but it's not nearly as complicated as like The Witcher 2 or something like that, where I just couldn't figure it the fuck out. This was more like Dragon Age 2 style, where it was a little involved, but once I really took the time into it, I was able to get through it real fast then.
Please don't compare it to Dragon Age 2.
I'm just saying that system. So, like, when I got, like, a new pair of boots I knew were better. If I didn't equip them right away, I knew, after a couple times going through it, I knew I could go bam, 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 get to it, equip it, and get out and go. So, but that's pretty much all the good stuff that I have to say about it.
Okay, well, here's my thing. When we did the Sleeping Dogs thing, I said that, that Sleeping Dogs copied everything that it does from other games.
Yes.
This copies everything it does from other games. It does nothing original. But everything that it does at least as well, and sometimes better than the games that it steals the stuff from. It has Legend of Zelda dungeons. It does them just as well as Zelda does. You can't say, I mean, besides the people who are huge Zelda fans, which, I mean,
Yeah.
Zelda fan. It does the dungeons as well as Zelda. It has Prince of Persia grabbing and
Platforming sections are
Yeah.
huge in this.
I mean, Prince of Persia, Assassin's Creed, it does them just like that. They're pretty much perfect. The combat's God of War. It does it fine. I mean, like I said, there's nothing original about it, but everything it does well. The Diablo loot system, you know, you go in, like you said, the menu, you hit select, and there it is. Bam.
Yeah.
You pick the ones that are better for your style. I do the melee combat rather than worry about all the spells and stuff.
Yeah, so do I.
So pretty much, if the number, like if the defense number or the attack number was higher, that's all I worried about. But if you do the magic, you know, you worry about that stuff too. But it's all pretty simple to read. It's a nice long game, 20 hours. It took me a lot longer because I glitched about 15 hours into it through my first playthrough. And normally, in a normal game, that would have been it. I would have glitched out at 15 hours and I would have never put the game back in. But I was having so much fun in those first 15 hours that I restarted it. I got through that first 15 hours that I took in about 3.5 hours because I knew exactly where I was going. So it's one of those games like the old adventure games. It takes a while to figure stuff out, but once you know what you're doing, you can speed right through it. At the end, after you beat it, there's a new game plus option, so you can keep your leveled up characters, which you need because a new game plus is going to be harder. What I really liked about it was, well, I really liked a lot of stuff about it, obviously, but a lot of times when I'm playing a game, like, I don't play on easy because I like a challenge. But like sometimes it'll be a huge step up. It'll be like normal is too easy, but then hard is impossible.
Yeah.
But the normal felt very balanced. It was challenging. You had to, you know, do the combos and dodge and do that stuff, but it never felt unfair. Kicked it up to hard. I'm only about halfway through the nightmare playthrough. It's harder and the enemies are harder, but again, it doesn't feel unfair. So it's balanced. It's a very well balanced game, which I normally don't see. I don't say anything about it because whatever, but I actually noticed that it's well balanced. So as far as it goes, again, I have one complaint, and it's a fairly big complaint. The first 2 worlds are full worlds. You get a new weapon, you get a new ability. It gives you like almost a little mini dungeon to show you how to work this.
Yeah.
And then as you go into it, then it gets more complicated. After the first 2 levels, the Forge Lands and then the Land of Death, it feels like, I don't know if they didn't have enough time or money to finish the game, or if they said, we can't make 2 more full worlds because we don't want this game to be 60 hours just to finish it. So the end feels rushed. There's 3 more levels, but each of them is just basically a dungeon. It's one dungeon, and then there's another dungeon, and then there's a short dungeon, and then it's the boss fight. And it gives you a bunch of abilities, but it never really teaches you how to do it. It took me a long time. There comes to a point where you split your souls, and then you pick up these. You can pick up these bomb things, and then you have portals. And it never tells you, but you can throw a bomb to your other soul self through these portals. It never tells you that until you've actually figured out that you can do it, and then a little thing comes up at the bottom. It's like, oh, you can throw a bomb to your other self.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I just figured that out. Thanks for telling me beforehand.
Yeah.
So the ending, after the first 2 big, fully developed levels, with 3 dungeons each, where you have to do 3 things to get through each of the... it's really 3 centered. Everything, I mean, and then each boss has 3 sections that you have to do to beat the boss. It's very formulaic. It's 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So after the first 2 big worlds, you get 3 little dungeons.
Yeah.
The story kind of fizzles out at the end, but it again, it feels like there's supposed to be 4 of these games. Whether or not we get the last 2, that's going to be up to, you know, who buys it and if THQ still has money. But they maybe should have put some sort of epilogue on there just in case.
Yeah.
The story doesn't finish, but again, it feels like it's just waiting for sequels. Yeah. I know that you didn't... I know that you were having a hard time with it, but you don't play these types of games.
No.
It doesn't... If you play these types of games, you know what you have to do. Yeah. Because there's nothing... Yeah. Again, there's...
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to bring that up.
There's nothing... There's nothing in there that's new. It's all Zelda or Prince of Persia or Assassin's Creed type, you know. So when I was playing it, even my first playthrough, I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, I'm going to need, you know, I remembered what room this thing was in because I knew I was going to have to come back for that and grab that and then do this to it once I figured out where I was going with it. There's nothing new, but it all works.
All right. Well, you brought up definitely one of my complaints, and that was the tutorial. The tutorial is pretty much throughout the game, and it usually either doesn't come on at all, or doesn't come on until it's late. And you brought that up, and that wasn't the first time. I didn't even get that far. I was stuck and couldn't beat the game, and I was so angry that I got rid of it. But there are other parts where I got new shit opened up, and I'm like, well, how do I do it? Or there are puzzles where it tells you how to get through it. It doesn't say, this is how you beat the puzzle, but it would be like, if you throw a sticky bomb to this type of object and then shoot it, it will destroy this object. Well, I don't know that. You know, and it doesn't tell you. And then I figure it out, and then it's like, oh, I wonder if I can shoot that thing. And I shoot it, it blows up. It's like, yes, if you do this, it'll do it. Well, thanks, buddy. I ran around for the past hour trying to figure it out. That's one of the things that saves this game, because the puzzles are like 40 minutes to go through like a puzzle. And if the dungeons were bigger than what they were for like the puzzle segment, I'd be pissed. But luckily they're small enough that I can like run over here and be like, well, I wonder if I run to this room, there's something there I need. And it's not too bad. But I swear if it was bigger, I would have given up even longer. Well,
again, that goes to the balance. They know what they have to do.
And part of that problem, too, was the bird, Dust. You're supposed to call on him.
That's right.
And he's supposed to say, you come this way! But instead he's like, stares at you.
Yeah.
Doesn't go. One of my favorites was he got up and flew, and then just stood there. It's stuck in the middle of the air and didn't go anywhere. I've had him go into a room and then back into where I was, and I'm like, oh, well maybe it's in this room. And I looked, and it wasn't. And then I tried, and then he went. I'm like, you motherfucker. That happened a lot.
I'm actually glad you brought that up because I forgot. He is basically useless, and I stopped even.
And it's a shame because this happened to me all the time in the first game, but there was no waypoint to help you out. And when they gave you the bird, I'm like, oh, thank God, this is gonna help. This is really gonna relieve some of that, because I'm not gonna lie, I went into this with a bad attitude. I really disliked the first game, and
I wasn't a huge fan of the first game either, and I went into it with low expectations.
And I tried, you know, and I tried. I really tried, and I did my best. And like I said in the beginning, I love the way it looks, you know, the feel, you know. So it's not that I'm full of piss and vinegar on this, but you know, I had problems with the combat, and combat wasn't so much like I could totally combo the shit out of it. I had good combos, I could run out and get in. But the more enemies on me, I couldn't dodge out of the way. I couldn't block the attacks coming from me without getting hit on the other side, and that's when I would have lag. And now what? Now there's nothing I can do but literally stop, so the game catches up with itself, so that I can continue my combo.
I didn't have any lag. Yeah. Maybe you should have installed it onto your hard drive.
Yeah, I don't.
Because I didn't have any problems with it.
And I have issues with.
So apparently, install it onto your hard drive if you're going to play it.
Yeah, and the other issues with combat is sometimes the AI is just bad. Like normally it's fine. It's like it knows what it's supposed to do. But then there are times where like a little enemy guy will like run into a wall and just keep running, and he'll be there all day until I kill him. There are parts where you can't open the next section until you kill all enemies. The one is those flying bird things. One was glitched in the air, wasn't flying. He was just stuck there and he wouldn't do anything. If I didn't have the gun unlocked at that point, I wouldn't be able to get past that entire section of the game. He was glitched there, and I had to shoot him, and that took me forever to find it and figure it out. Because I'm like, why can't I go? And I seen it, you know.
I didn't have any glitches or anything weird like that.
Yeah, well, that's an issue, and it happened, and unfortunately, you know, it was there. And there were times that were during camp, not a lot, but it was still annoying. There were times during combat when it got intense, the camera didn't know where to put it itself, and I would have that issue too. You know, the platforming was fine, but I'm not into platforming. I don't mind it in sections. But this is Assassin's Creed and Prince of Persia style that I personally don't like. And if you're like me, you know, where you're like, it's fine, but I don't want to do it for 10, 15 minutes straight, I get bored.
Oh, that's my favorite part.
And I know, and that's what you're into.
Yeah.
And I'm not, and I'm not trying to be unfair about it because it works. And so it's a bad game mechanic. It's not good for a person like me.
Yeah.
Because I go through it and I'm like, oh great, now I gotta go over here. I don't care. I want to kill something for fuck's sake. Because it's boring me, I need to kill something, you know? And the puzzles
I don't want to have to use my brain, I just want to use my sword.
And it's fine. I don't mind doing it. Give me 5 minutes. I don't need... 5 minutes is a long time. If we sat here staring at this camera for 5 minutes, people will go, holy shit, that's fucking long. So doing that in platforming is fine. Doing it for 10 minutes, doing it for 15 minutes... Really? Jesus Christ.
They should have watched the cat for 5 minutes.
Yeah, they know how to distract us. You know, just it's not meant for me.
Yeah.
You know, but again, I felt like I could have enjoyed it more if those were cut in half, just like the puzzle segments, like the cauldron puzzle. What is that? Like an hour?
Yeah.
Just the puzzle is insane. But you like puzzles.
Yeah.
I don't mind them. I mind them for an hour.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Because I didn't buy this as a puzzle game. I bought this as an action-adventure game.
Oh, that was your problem.
I know that. But again, but I'm being honest about it. I'm like, this is my personality type.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that part of the game is bad. It just means if you're a player like I am, that it's not meant for you. You know? The technical issues are very small.
Yeah.
And even I looked past them. Yeah, I had some problems with AI. Yes, I had some problems with some camera. Yes, I had some problems with controls. But nothing that made me put down the controller. What made me put down the controller was there were times where I was bored and I couldn't do it anymore. There are times where the boss fights were so ridiculously frustrating I put it down. And then I come back later, I'm like, oh, it's attack, attack, dodge, attack, attack, dodge, attack, attack, dodge. That was like one of like the first like 2 bosses. Like the big robot monster guy and the big bug was they were all the same. It was attack, attack,
the big
dodge.
Bug where you threw the things at him and then exploded him.
Attack, attack, and then you have to dodge. And then you have to knock it down.
Yeah.
Attack, 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 dodge. That was the formula.
Yeah. Well, I thought the bosses were a lot better than most games like this because you had to do something different for each one. It wasn't just go in there and hit him until he's dead. You have to do this to be able to hit him.
No, you're right. There are definitely games where that's the thing. And, I mean, the bug wasn't straight up attack, attack, dodge. Because every time you dodge, it hit the wall, and then it dropped the egg, and you only had a certain amount of time to grab before it hatched. Now you had more enemies, and then you hit it and knocked it over. But to me, that just wasn't... Yes, it was different, but this game just couldn't hold my attention. It couldn't. It had a hard time. But again, that's on my personality, and that's on me as a player, not because the game is bad. And I just want that to get out there.
Okay, so what we're saying is the game is great.
No, we're not saying that at all, because there are, like I said, there's small issues, nothing major. But again, it's hard for me to recommend it if you're a player like myself. If you're a player like Mike, I like the platform. I like a lot of that RPG. Puzzles are huge. You know, platforming is huge, and the adventuring is there. If action, Jesus Christ, if action takes a back seat to all that, okay, for me it has to be a front seat, and it isn't. So for me, this is the opposite direction. So players like for you, if you've watched the show enough, totally recommend. Players like me, no, I can't recommend it. And if I do, I would say if you never started the series, start with 2 because it's better.
Yes.
The entire introduction is awesome, and it totally explains the entire first game. And you know, and wait for it to get used. That's what I would say. That's my recommendation. That's where I'm going with this.
2's definitely better. It's improved on everything. So if you like games that's more than just kill, then you'll like it. You know, if you like Zelda, Prince of Persia,
Assassin's Creed, those are all good examples.
You know, this is the kind of game that you'll like. It even has portal guns at the end. You shoot an orange portal into one thing, and you shoot a blue portal into the other thing, and then you go through them, and perfect. I loved it. So, I recommend it. I mean, I can't... again, it's not for everyone, but if you like Prince of Persia, Zelda, Assassin's Creed, puzzle games, there's nothing not to like.
Yeah, and if you're like me, then I don't recommend at all. You're just going to get frustrated and bored. But if you want to get into the series, I definitely say start with this and just wait for it used. Save yourself a couple bucks. It's actually already dropping down in price already.
Yeah.
And it's already been out 2 weeks.
Unfortunately.
You know. So, and again, it is unfortunate because this is a small studio, you know, and there's a great artist behind it. There is some really good storytelling. So, it would be nice for them to get the support that they deserve. So, it's unfortunate that it is losing its value already, you know. But again, you've watched the show enough, hopefully, to see our personality styles, and hopefully you can make your own good choice on that.
Our stock is dropping because this has gone on for a very long time. So, like us on Facebook, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.
I want to see if it looks like she's dancing if I do this.
Just turn it off.